Do we need to do the pledge again?
I think we're okay.
All right. You want to ask us about the minutes?
Of
Or do I move that? Okay, so I'm going to move that we approve the minutes of June 11th and June 18th.
Second.
Spring, that was you?
Yes.
Okay. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and presentations. We have a continuing hearing. It's my understanding that you still have materials that are forthcoming. Is that correct? Is there anything that you want to share about this at this time? Oh, you want to slide in here? You can just pop over here. Okay. That's fine. I got that. You got that? Yeah, we're just hoping to get an update on your progress.
That's fine, we'll take a minute and let you get situated. Comfortable.
I don't know if he's
My name is Marty Mosley. I own Municipal Relations Consulting. Emil is the owner of or the tenant, actually, he's the owner of the business. As far as updates, obviously, we had a lot of vehicles there. We were removing some of those vehicles. We're down to 60 right now. We will continue to remove vehicles. The intent right now is to amend the application to include a salvage yard. The technical use, I believe, is salvage / junkyard, but we're not intending a junkyard, just to be clear. The intent is to have vehicles that can be reused as part of this process. Emil's looking to then register and go through the proper DEC regulations and go through whatever channels he's needed to do there. He won't be able to proceed with that until he receives approval from the towns. So when we go through the process, we wouldn't be able to show he's in compliance with the DEC standard in the town for informational purposes based on what we could find.
You mean, he can't apply for a DC permit? You don't mean he can't actually make improvements, right?
Well, we'll make improvements, right? But he can't apply to go through the process to become, I don't know if it's certified or registered, but come into compliance with DEC in that manner until he has approval from the local municipality.
Okay, thank you.
Part of the application, right? So, in addition, just noting, I believe, you all probably have under the site, is the application open to the general public to visit the site, to review the site? Specifically, the actual site itself?
I think there's all accents.
Okay, we just wanted to clarify, that's all.
Do you want it or what's your position on that?
I think it's off the road quite far. Most of the time, what I've ever seen is individuals that can view things from the right of way, or the intent would be to have the materials here at town hall to be reviewed by the general public, as well as any other person that's interested, which is obviously why we're putting together the application or amended application to get back to you.
All right.
So just for liability purposes, obviously, we just wanted clarification on that.
So it's just for clarity, so it's closed to the public to go into the driveway.
I don't know that, so I think there would be a concern if people just continue to visit the property. It's not, Emil's actually closed right now, and he
Okay,
wasn't even, right.
okay,
So he wasn't even open to the public technically before. He was
Okay.
only open by appointment only. So that was his other concern, just liability coming onto the property. I know typically municipal officials, yourself, planning board, town employees, etc., typically come on the property during the process. I just wanted to make sure that general public was not supposed to be on the property or on the property.
Okay.
And that's pretty much our update. So we're gonna continue to remove vehicles, amend the application, get the amended application into the planning department. We've had a subsequent meeting with the planning department and race staff in addition, just to talk through it. So I think we're hopefully on the right path to come back to you.
Okay. You think we can wrap this up next month or?
I think what Ray had identified is we'll have to go back to planning board and then return back to town board, if I'm not mistaken by that.
Yeah, but you should keep, this hearing should stay open until the August.
Okay,
I can hear
okay.
and prayer, planning board recommendations when available.
So it sounds like your process will stay open. We're gonna go back to planning board and return here. I don't know if we'll need to be here for the August meeting or not. It kind of depends on the planning board process is what it sounds like. Correct, correct. Yeah, and we're working on that right now.
And that would be a step before you can start accepting customers again. So you might have to go through September before you can start treating patients.
We're gonna try to get it done as soon as possible, obviously, for him to open up. That's the idea.
Priorities to have if you requested me registering as a dismantler or junkyard or that type of facility, that licensing. That's my priority right now, is to make sure I have that.
Yeah.
Once that's done, then we navigate everything else and hopefully wrap everything else by October, maybe before winter.
Sure. Then you'll be busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions, or we'll leave you to the rest of your business. Thank you for having us again.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. You want to work?
Next up would be Rick. Well, I guess the only. Yeah, it would be Rick. I'll let you go.
I really don't have a lot, just, obviously, we've been paving some roads. We got 3 or 4 down that were on the 284. We put shoulders on them last couple times out. We got the shoulder machine down there. We got the shoulders on the roads. We started mowing the dam as of the 15th, yesterday. And GD Vincentus have made it across Game Farm Road now with a water line heading back, so pretty good progress there. We had a quick meeting with Todd Bittner yesterday on the trail. I don't know what you want to call it, kind of a wrap around there. Going towards Monkey Run where we've got to go around the property. And that's about all I got. Oh, we got 2 of the trucks we ordered last year are in now, so they will be in service now. So
So they came quick.
they're ready. Just gotta put the equipment on. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you for taking care of those trees that came in.
That's what you got.
It's a big one. When you plant a tree, you make an investment in the next generation. You were part of that. The town accepted about 6 beautiful trees from NYSEG. They had a tree gift program, and they had to arrive somewhere, and they arrived at Town Barn.
Nice thing's gotta be a lot like New York State. They don't talk to each other because we're
Yeah.
asking for trees on the one end and they're giving them to us for, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, these are going to be planted along the rail trail, and they're going to grow into make and that appreciate your help with that.
Yeah. Jason?
I got nothing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like I hate Microsoft. I'm gonna put that on the record. Me too.
You mean Office 365 specifically or
No, I mean the-
passwords?
Everything. like this thing was gonna reboot, just like in that show Space Force, you know, when they had to do the satellite thing, it was ready to reboot. This thing, somehow I must change my password, so I'm like, all right, that's wonderful, because I can see my email on my phone, but it should be the same one here. Anyway, I hate Microsoft. I should move to Linux and be done with this garbage. Sorry.
Okay, don't get us sued. This is all, we're being recorded.
You know what? Bill Gates isn't even in charge over there anymore. Doesn't really matter.
So is Apple.
Oh, I'd like Apple, except our IT people who work for government can never seem to figure out Apple because it doesn't let them bill anything. I said that on the record too, so. Because there's no problems.
Okay.
Anyway, I have to Zoom. I have to log in on Zoom. Actually, I have to use my own computer because I can't
Well,
use
let's
this
keep,
garbage.
Ray talking first.
Yeah, Ray, you're up.
Okay. Monthly report, there's some copies out on the table there. There's items that are coming up later in the agenda. The one thing I will say about this month, the numbers are still up there, which I would like to commend my staff for, despite 2 vacancies in the department, keeping up with business. So that's the good news to report. And we've been interviewing for one of the positions and have good candidates. We will be filling that hopefully within the next 3-4 weeks.
Is your microphone on?
Say it again?
Yeah.
Your
Oh,
mic-
yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Yep.
Next up, I guess the only, I guess, I don't know if it's on. Let me see if it's on here yet. As far as announcement part. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to mention, I sent an email, I think to everybody earlier, but we got the resignation letter from Judge Clausen. But so I had to go talk with Board of Elections. I think Lauren's talked to them too. So it looks like that'll be on the ballot this fall too. Just waiting for some clarification, but the only thing that'll impact for us is if we choose to do an interim appointment or not.
Right.
That's all.
When is that effective again?
It's effective July 30th. So
We have to do it today.
no, we don't need to do anything today. No, we actually can't because he's still justice till the end, the end of basically the end of the month. It just means in August we might, it's at that point in one of those meetings, consider an appointment or not, just because of if it's on the ballot anyway. I don't know. We'll talk about it then when I know a little.
Okay.
Okay, but I just want to let everybody know that happened. And I guess the only other, unless you were going to talk about it later, Dan, about the DEC thing and the
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I put together a resolution, sort of 11th. It's all positive stuff that I was wondering if we could take up as a special added item to the agenda.
Yeah,
tonight. Just
yeah.
a resolution celebrating this decision.
Sure.
So I circulated it. I know it had a typo or two because I was banging it out pretty quickly, but
Yeah, I got it.
should we just wait till then to talk about it?
Is it on here? Like, I see it on here.
I just emailed it around, so it.
Oh, okay.
But we could add it to this list of,
Yeah, why don't we just add it to the list in 11? Because I know
Yeah.
is David on? Yeah, yeah, he's on. Okay, yeah, because Dave could go into his report. Is he? Can you make? Dave probably has something to share. You have a.
I believe that Plan Intern laptop is the host, so they can do that.
All right. Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
yes.
Oh. Right.
I'm going to share my screen. I sent a report a few hours ago. This is the July report for everything that happened through the end of June, but given that we're July 16th, there's a little bit of what happened so far in July in the report. And then there's a few resolutions. So first, start with some good news. The multiple dwelling units and purple zone projects are making progress in the month of June. First is Freeville Cottages. That's 12 units in the village of Freeville that has been signed and installed and ready to go. So any of the residents of any of those 12 units can now sign up for service if we do an install literally like the next day. So that was a partnership with Bruno Schickel, who's the owner of Freeville Cottages. It also is a first step to talking about bringing Dryden Fiber to the Boiseville Cottages in the town of Caroline, which is part of the MIP project. For construction, Fall Creek Park and Pleasant View on Southworth Road have both been approved by the park owners. We begin work on Fall Creek Park this week and next week, and Pleasant View has a lot of more construction that'll be happening over the course of July and into early August. Fall Creek Park will go live because it's already in our green zone and part of our network. So as soon as that work is done, again, potentially by the end of July, we'll be able to provide service to those 38 residents. The one on Southworth Road, we have to bring fiber down Southworth and then to the park itself. So that might not come live until September, though we're working closely with both construction and engineering to get it ready and get it live sooner. We have enough light coming over 392 to provide service to those parks and Southworth Road as soon as we build it without needing the New York State DOT permit. We're also in negotiation, basically final negotiation on 2 other apartment buildings, one in Dryden Village and one in Varna. When those get approved, we'll bring those to the town board too. On the easement project, we identified around 235 parcels where we needed easements between the 2 towns. Since we started that about 2.5 months ago, we have reduced that by 45 parcels where we determined that we did not need to get easements there. So that's brought our number down to about 190 or so. First 19 were completed as of July 1st. And outreach is well underway for the other 139 to reach them all. The update as of today is we now have 46 completed. 13 of those have been signed, 16 have been filed with the county, and 17 have been verbally accepted. So we are, of the 180, we're about 25% of the way through and making a lot of progress.
Dave, a quick question about that. When you have these early successes, are they the low-hanging fruit, or is it just a matter of sequence?
It's all over the place. Like we could call someone today and they'd be like, "Great, I'll come by the town hall tomorrow." Other
Okay.
ones, we started talking to them in early May and they came by 2 days ago. Everyone's a little different depending on the conversations we have and what they have questions about and if they've ever seen easement before. So everyone's a little different. I don't know if there's any low-hanging fruit. We can't really tell people's attitude to these right away.
Okay, thanks.
One of the things we did this month with easements is we had an easement information session in the town board room on Tuesday night. Deputy Supervisor Lamb was there. We had members of our construction and engineering team there, as well as former town clerk Bambi Avery was there to be able to notarize easements. We had a very small crowd show up. A few people showed up, talked to them, and one of the couples that we were hoping would sign did sign. So we might do another one of those in August. We might do one of those in Caroline. And we're trying to figure out what's the best way to spend our time and our energy, what's going to help get the message out there. For customer count, we're at 567. As of July 1st, we had 12 new customers in May, but we only netted 7. 4 left town, they moved, and one of them switched tiers to a different tier, I believe. We did Dairy Day in the month of June. We gave about 450 postcards during the parade, and then we had people in the booth throughout the entire day. Probably 50 different conversations between Connor, Arthur, who's on our public broadband committee, Joel Cisney on our broadband committee, and Kevin from our broadband committee. So between the five of us, probably talked to about 50 different people. A couple of people signed up, and at least one of them has already installed. A few more, I think, are on the schedule. A lot of interest, people who are just not yet in the green zone. But it was a good showing, answered a lot of good questions about the project, a little bit about easements, but mostly about the timeline. Finally, construction is going on all over town, and we are planning our pre-installation method where we will start to build to people's homes from the street even before we can turn the fiber on, which is a good warm weather activity to take on before we try to bury lines in people's yards in the middle of the winter. Any questions on the good news report?
Yeah, I think that easement event that you did on Tuesday was great, really well organized. I guess I wasn't too surprised by the attendance on a warm summer night. Just wondering if it would be something just to do on a scheduled basis, coffee and easements or something like that, where we could just every Friday have just a regular office hour to come talk easements to anyone who wants to come. Or a Zoom drop-in session where you just, happen to have Zoom on and anyone who wants to drop in and talk easements. I'm just trying to think, out of the box how to reach all these people as easy as possible without making them feel that it's a formal inquiry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we're willing to try everything. There's two stages really. There's finding access to the people, because we generally have the parcel ID and the name on their tax bill and the mailing address, but we don't have a phone number. We don't have an email address. A lot of these parcels, and a lot is not like 50%, but a large number of the parcels are people who do not live at the parcel where we need the easement. A number of them live out of state, Massachusetts, Maine, Georgia, so they're not easy to go and knock on their door.
Right.
So the first part of it is just research. How do we find these people? The town clerk's office has helped out a lot. Planning department's helped out. When we can, we ask members of the town board. We ask members from inside the town hall if they know these people. So we're scouring that. It's a good amount of activity, just trying to find out how do we get in touch with these people to offer them the easement. We do have their mailing address, and if we can't get them by phone or email, we do send it in the mail with a letter that says, "Here's the project." And that's worked. We have had people from anywhere from Dryden to Caroline to 2 states away get that in the mail, read the letter, read the easement, go to their local bank or their local law office, get it notarized, and then mail it back to us. So some people are like, yeah, this makes sense, I'll do it. Other people we call, we set up a meeting, we walk at their house, we walk the tour of where we're going to have it on their right of way in the front of their house, right by the white line. And they're like, this is great. I'll think about it. So it's quite a spectrum. But the first step is just being able to talk to them or get the document in front of them. The second part is getting them to say yes. So we can take the idea of doing a Zoom once a week or come to town hall every Friday. Many people have come to town hall between the hours when the clerks are here to do the notarization between 9 and 4:30. They have the time, they make the time, they take a day off, they take a morning off, they come in before or after work. So people are able to do that.
Great.
One last thing, I mentioned this, I think, before on the easements. We have a higher than average inquiry rate for the service from people who we have easements for, who've said yes to easements, than the general population. When we talk about the project and we spend time with them and we ask them for an easement and they sign off to it, more than half go home and sign up for the service. Because they're like, oh, I never knew this existed. I'm going to sign up right now. So we're using this as a way to also provide visibility and some marketing for the project. All right, this looks like the fine print. June construction was pretty busy all over town. This is in the report. So we had both underground and aerial work being done in June and into July. Shutt Road, Caswell, Etna Road, Upper Creek, Sheldon Road, Lower Creek Road, west from Wood Road in Pinckney. That's in the Pinckney region. McClintock, Hammond Hill, which is in Caroline going down to Flatiron, and 600 Road in Caroline. this month and into next month, I put the neighborhood and then I put the road name. So we are literally in every neighborhood in town where we can do underground work, where we don't have, uh, and particularly these are all town roads, so we don't have any easements, and the crew's out there working. So from West Dryden to Freeville to the Virgil Town Line, Ringwood Road from Midline all the way down to Ellis Hollow, Freeze Road in Varna, which will continue over the Freeze Road Bridge and then up the hill to Hanshaw and all the way to Sapsucker. Hanshaw around the radio station, Bar and Abbott, Route 13, Knollwood, about halfway to town. And then near Caroline, Canaan Road, where we have to go into Caroline to get to Canaan Road, and then in Ellis Hollow and in Dryden Lake. So we're basically every neighborhood where there's underground opportunity to work and build, we're building right now. Any questions on construction? I know you've probably seen some vehicles around. We're focused on the MIP areas, and we're focused on areas where we can build. As we get our New York State DOT permits later this summer, as we get more pole licenses from poles being ready for us, we'll kind of fill in the gaps between where we are working on the map right now and easements. So a number of different blockers. A few other executive director things going on. So besides everything we're focused on with easements, operating our current customer base, construction, we've been working on tracking down and outreach to mobile home parks. Dryden has 15 named mobile home parks. Caroline has 2 more. Each of those is basically a unique situation about how we're going to provide service to them. It has a huge opportunity to boost our numbers given the density. So some of those mobile home park owners live here in the town of Dryden. Some operate here. Some are owned by companies that are outside of Tompkins. Some are owned by companies that are outside of New York State. So it's a variety of different pathways to engage with them, tracking them down, calling them, going in person, talking to the tenants to find out who we should talk to. It's also, as I've said, a lot of easement negotiation and research. On July 1st, we had 195 easements. We're down to under 180 now that we need to seek because we've been knocking them off the list of, you know what, we actually don't need that easement as we re-engineer and look around. There's also make-ready concerns. People call all the time asking questions about poles and pole replacements. New housing developments. There's a new housing development across the street from Town Hall. We're working with them to bring service to them. So when they open their first home in the development, Dryden Fiber will already be there. I would say like under the sidewalk, under the road. As of today, the sidewalks and road don't even exist, but the houses are there. So we have a good partnership with Dryden Apartments, and it's their team that is helping to develop that neighborhood across the street, which means we're on site. We're bringing in engineering as well as construction, working on the easements to help out with that project. So all these little side quests just happen throughout the month on top of everything else we're doing. And then everything else with acquisition of materials and easements and other blockers. Plenty of good stuff happening across the town. We're getting a lot of help from planning, from the clerk's office on notarization and finding people, as well as with DPW and the highway department. The whole team around town hall and DPW is coming together to help us. All right, we did a map update on July 9th. We basically shifted the estimated go launch dates to Q4, which is October 1st, for both yellow and orange in the town of Dryden, as well as the blue, which is town of Caroline. Given the substantial delays with New York State DOT permits, as well as some electronics, as well as the easements, as well as the electrical make-ready on the poles, we want to be as clear with the public who's using the map and using the colors to figure out when we're going to be able to provide service. So we've updated the map and pushed this out as of about, I guess, last Thursday. Any questions on the map legend, how we're defining availability starting dates? Okay. So I shared this with the Public Broadband Committee last Friday, and they said, based on everything we talked about, is there enough time to finish our project? the New York State funded project by 12/31. So this is a slide as of July 7th, which is only 9 days ago. We had less than 6 months to go and 130 miles to build with 175 days. So this is what the report looked like on July 7th for where we were. We go forward 2 days and we have received an extension from New York State as of last Tuesday afternoon. So adding 6 more months pushes the timeline out to June 30th, 2027. Much needed breathing room. We would have liked those 6 months to have been summer months, but we will take what they're going to give us, which is 3 more winter months, January, February, March, and then 3 more good months for better construction time in April, May, and June. Huge relief. This is going to help us finish the project that we need to do for New York State to get the reimbursements. Which brings us
Yeah,
to
Dave,
as
you and
of
your team did a
today.
really good job requesting this, putting together a case with very little time at the end of May. And you're to be commended for that. We were nervous about whether we would meet the test for getting an extension. It was up to New York State's Connect All office to grant the extension via the U.S. Treasury Department. But they had to make the case to Treasury and we got it. So we were on pins and needles. We may not have looked like it, but we were.
Very much. 6 months is it's 6 months in construction time is like 6 years extra time. Like we're doing a lot in a day and a lot in a week, and having
Mhm.
6 more months just very helpful to the project. And it's across the board. Every funded MIP project in this round, which is I believe is 17 projects, all were granted the extension. So we're all in this together. There was no winners and losers of who's going to get the extension. They granted it to everybody. So with that full year, we are still heads down focused. Most of us are still looking at the 12/31 deadline to make sure we can get a lot done before the first snow, wind, ice, everything else happens. So we're not taking our foot off the accelerator. We want to get this done, and we want to get it done for the public too. People have been waiting for 2, 3, 4 years in some cases. We want to get it done for them. I think that's it. The rest of the details are the scoreboard and then the department reports for the month of June. Any questions? I have a few resolutions, but I'm open to questions first.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. So we have 3 resolutions for Dryden Fiber. The first is the Greater Dryden Construction Change Order Authorization. So I believe that was in your packet. We awarded the work to Syracuse due to the construction schedule and temporary anchors that have been attached to hold fiber in place until we can continue the fiber construction. This is, we build until we hit a state highway, we can't continue, or we build until we hit a telephone pole that has not yet been replaced. We have asked for an overall increase for this of $80,475.
It's up on the screen now. Did you want me to put up the other parts too? There was another document with it.
Oh, there's 9A is the change order document that shows the
Yeah.
units, labor, and materials, or the labor calculations.
Yeah. I'll move that.
I'll
resolution.
second.
Marcus Mendez.
Yes.
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 Great. The second one is a resolution for Freeville Construction change order authorization. Similar. This is only $20,000 to handle the completion of the work that was not in the original bid.
Says the total added 78,000. Is that 20,000 more than what it was?
Yeah.
One online, so I have to double check.
Yeah, the Freeville change order. Is this supposed to be 78,500, dude?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 78,500.
Okay, so I'll move with the correct, with an amendment for the not to exceed the
78.
$78,500.
All right, second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 Thank you. The last one is authorization to sign an agreement with Labella for surveying of Cornell properties. So part of our easement project has us acquiring easements across 8 different Cornell properties across Mount Pleasant mostly and Stevenson Road. Cornell is so far the only property owner that has required us to have a survey of the parcel as part of the easement. We looked online to see who had done the most recent surveys of the land that we need to have easements on. It was Labella. It was Labella's Ithaca office right here. We spoke to them. They're putting together a quote for the work to do those surveys of those parcels. And based on the timeline, which is get the survey work done, get it into an easement package, get it to Cornell so their legal team can review it, and get those easements in hand so we can do the construction this year. We didn't want to wait until the August 13th when we had the completed Labella proposal in hand. So I put a not to exceed $5,000. We think that's a good estimate for this work. And after approval of the agreement by the Dryden Town Attorney.
I'll move that.
Do we have that in writing or are we just agreeing to it as, maybe I'm,
You mean
I gotta refresh my screen. I just don't see it on our website.
Well, we don't have the agreement in hand yet. They are working on the proposal as of yesterday afternoon. They said they would have the proposal to us this week, but we wouldn't be able to sign it until August 13th. That's the next town board meeting. So this allows us to sign it not to exceed 5,000 and after approval from the town attorney.
Is that emailed around? Is that how you got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it off the website, actually. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta refresh that.
Change orders are there. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got to refresh. Okay.
Yep.
I'll move that.
Move it.
You moved?
Who seconded?
I'll second. Leo second. I thought Jason moved
first.
He beat me.
Okay.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have for tonight. We're working in town hall. It's nice and cool in there. So we're there almost every day or we're out in the field working either on tracking down construction or tracking down easements. Stop by if you have any questions. We do have 1,800 parcels in our green zone. Around 570 have signed up so far. So there's plenty of work left. If people want to sign up, we can get installs done usually in 2 or 3 days in the green zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you. All right. We can just move to we don't have Stan on. No. Okay. Unless. All right, so we'll move right to the next set of resolutions. So the first one would be to recognize first responders and victims of was the July 3rd fatal fire.
Unfortunately, this is our third fatal fire since April 1st. there were dozens of firefighters that responded to all those fires. So I'd just like to give them recognition again and most importantly, pay tribute to the two victims of the latest fire at 319 Lake Road, Kayla Wood and Dennis Davis. So I'll move this resolution.
Second. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 So I do this other one now. Damn.
Yeah.
So everyone, you saw the resolution I just sent around. It's not a controversial resolution, but we got some really good news this week about the Dryden Lake Dam. And took a while to decipher exactly what happened since we read about it in the newspaper. But I put together a resolution that goes over the background of the dam, talking about, for over 200 years, we've enjoyed this dam, the importance to wildlife and the surrounding wetlands, making it a designated unique natural area by the Tompkins County Environmental Management Agency. We've had this resource going back to the 1800s when the original dam was installed as a power source for a sawmill, making it a hub for lumbering, but also creating this 100-acre lake that fostered an ice-making business. A lot of interesting history with regard to this lake and the dam that made it possible. In 1997, we worked out a deal with New York State DEC, which owns the lake, to establish the Dryden Lake Park, which maintain and Rick Young and his team keeps the park in good working order for fishing and picnics and barbecues and playgrounds and restrooms. But the DEC manages the dam, as we went over last week. And we're grateful for the discussion that occurred here to both of the gentlemen who are here tonight. It was very helpful to hear from you about some aspects of the dam, and particularly that it was 57% below its volume. That got picked up by a local reporter who happens to be here. And I don't know if we're allowed to praise the press and as a public official, but wrote a very nice story, Dan. And I think that got attention of a number of people, including our New York State Senator. I forwarded the article and some background information to Senator Leah Webb that night. And the next day when the article came out, she's very interested in this issue, has been, as I've explained before. I met with her back in January and gave her documentation about the dam and its importance to this community. She got in touch with DEC immediately after that, and DEC maybe just needed one more data point. Maybe that data point is our New York State Senator Leah Webb. But I think that might have helped. I think the newspaper coverage helped. The advocacy from you helped as well. So I had a line in here that I just wanted to mention. Whereas an engaged public and local advocates helped raise awareness about the need to replace the dam and save the lake. Whereas effective local media coverage further raised awareness to this issue, and whereas the New York State Department of Conservation manages this resource. Whereas on July 13th, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation announced that it would move forward with plans to replace the Dryden Lake Dam. Be it resolved that the town board celebrates this decision by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to replace the aging dam and Dryden Lake and thanks the agency for the decision. And be it further resolved that the town of Dryden expresses gratitude to our representative in the New York State Senate, Leah Webb, for advancing the replacement of the dam, and to the DEC and her strong commitment to improving the quality of life in Dryden and surrounding communities. So I'd like to move this resolution.
I'll second.
And Leo seconds.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 Yes. So you guys are good luck charms. Thanks.
You're more than just
Make your shirts.
Yeah. And then after the meeting, I think during when you were finished speaking last week, I had emailed Scott Prindle and he sent people, I think Monday, to do the measurements of the water. So it all came together. So it was great. So, then I guess Dan, just let me know whenever you're ready. I know it looks, if you need to get settled for a minute, we can just move. If you wanted to, yeah, because we had just, yeah.
And just one last thought, I forgot to
Yeah.
mention, the price tag on this dam is fairly large. I mean, we're talking about over $3 million coming into this town for this resource. The current dam is in a state of disrepair, so this is unusual news. It's fantastic news, and I think it was a team effort.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Welcome.
Hi.
Go ahead.
The county legislature has not met since I was last here, so I have nothing to report.
There's Dan Wakeman vote to throw one in.
not entirely true. I do know that a couple of committee meetings we had just this week, we are moving to continue virtual meetings, which I guess is a New York State thing. We have to recycle every 2 years. Business, a lot of business as usual, guys, right? We're renewing the lease for the building for the Department of Motor Vehicles. We're pursuing several grants for a couple of things, airport included. Highway Department's got an agreement with Schuyler County. They've got some roads that kind of overlap the counties there. They're taking care of each other's roads. Some budget transfer items, administration's reviewing policies and procedures that they need to do periodically. A lot of business as usual, guys. That's what I have.
Thank you. Yeah, and I know that as the Reeves Road Bridge finally begins to advance, we're gonna probably have to talk about what, I guess, after that goes out to bid, when we find out what the cost is gonna be, because I know that we have commitments from the county
Okay.
about that, but those were about 5 years old now, at least.
Yes, so we have negotiated a deal with the county to pick up the local match.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know that we might be hearing from County Highway about the details on that one, but we're not really gonna know more until the DOT finally lets us put it out to bid. And then the other thing, has nothing to do with the town, just since you're here. One of my things I do is like as a law guardian, so whatever, and I've been in court a lot the last year on these kind of cases with juveniles. The county doesn't. County's got a problem where there's no place to send kids even temporarily for detention, but the county jail and the place to actually set them up is the old customs building. And the last time I visited there, they literally had an air mattress on the floor for these kids. I don't know if it's changed, and I think that they were supposed to get a bed, but the county executive needs to figure out how to budget for rent, purchasing space, because even Tioga County has bought a space at least one facility out in Bath. There's not a lot of them, but when you have a guaranteed space, you don't have to send kids to the old ICE facility.
I can
So-
say this. The sheriff is aware of this. Several months ago, when the new county legislatures toured the jail,
Yeah.
it was a known fact. He said if we have kids, we either get them out to facilities that are a fair piece away, which takes, I guess it takes 2 officers to transport, and sometimes it's for a day.
Yeah.
And then have to go right back and get them, bring them home. So yeah, sheriff is aware of this. I don't know what the solution is. I will pass the information on.
Yeah, I mean, the solution is for the county to contract with a facility and not, or have find someone in county to do it that's not where they're at now. Like, my point of bringing it, if Tioga County can manage it, Tompkins County certainly can do it. If Schuyler County can manage it, Tompkins can too. This is what I understand is it came from the county administrator. And he made a really bad call by not contracting, and I can tell you none of the county judges are happy about it.
Okay.
So
I will pass that along.
Yeah, I have a pet issue too. So it's my understanding that the rapid medical response budget line is maintained in the fiscal year 27 budget. I think that's great. I'd hate to see any cuts to the light rescue a system that the county has set up. So I'm just asking you to fight to maintain that
Maintain it,
funding,
yeah.
not cut it. I also understand that there's consideration for a set aside contingency fund if the county succeeds in getting additional funding for EMS light rescue. So I think that might be 350,000. Not 100% sure of the amount, but just hoping that you'll support that as well.
Thank you. I will do my best there for you, for us, right?
Yeah.
I have not, I'm not fully up to speed on what the current budget process is. I know administration is working on that.
Yeah.
We did the kickoff a while ago and they're making the rounds with departments. I do not know what what the current state is. So.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's coming up. It is coming up.
So I've been working.
I do know that the several legislators are aware that it is going to be tight and they're defending the levy. I mean, they want to keep it down. So they know we're going to have to make some very hard decisions. But this is an important thing, especially for some of our rural areas.
So I've been working with your colleague, Rachel Oslin from Ulysses, that area. And she's on a subcommittee that was appointed by the Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
And she, I believe, has sent to all the members a set of scenarios for EMS reform, 4 different outcomes. Hope you get a chance to look at that. It's something this committee spent some time working on.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of expands the imagination of what could happen to EMS if various decisions are made or not made. You know, what happens with status quo, what happens if there's a retraction. And I think it's a good thought exercise. I appreciate what she's doing. You know, I would have rather just seen an ambulance service set up at the county level, but that's going to take some more lifting. But in the meantime, I appreciate what she's doing. I hope you get a chance to look at that. And I appreciate the chance to work with her on this committee. So.
Okay. Breeze Road Bridge. Juvenile retention.
Well, yeah, the detention, facility.
And the EMS.
Rachel's
Right,
memo
right.
and yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll end up hearing from the legislature's gonna probably hear from the county judge at some point anyway for this budget cycle.
coming up.
It's just popped. I mean, I know the attorneys over at DSS are probably making noise about it too. But that's figured since you're here.
No, that's,
You can help.
this is this is the whole reason.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so the next thing that's up is just an introduction of a proposed local law to repeal and replace Article 9 of the Town Code regarding conservation subdivisions and addressing related matters. It's just to set the public hearing for August 2026. So let me find yes. So on the website, it's got, and this is just it's got the introduction resolution, a copy of the proposed local law, including a red line version, and then there's the environmental assessment, which we take up at the public hearing. And those are all posted.
I think that the red line version is very helpful in understanding all the work that went into this process. The zoning advisory group, Spring, as you've covered a couple of those meetings, has put in a tremendous amount of work on this, as has our consultant, Nan Stolzenberg. And she's been fantastic. So this is a carefully articulated set of changes. So we'll probably have a more robust discussion about this next month, but I just want to appreciate the amount of work that's gone into this.
Yeah.
13 pages, but 13,000 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so then the public hearing set for August 6 o'clock. I mean, it'll probably be closer to 6:05, but. Yeah. All right. Then. The next thing up is a discussion about an out of district sewer user at Hanshaw Village Mobile Home. Ray, can you just kind of start us?
Yeah, so back in March, TG Miller generated a memo concerning a calculation for what we proposed to charge for their hooking up the mobile home community into the future force main that would be built out Hanshaw Road using that CDBG grant money. So that was forwarded to them. They responded on June 18th with a counter proposal. And now the latest circulated memo from TG Miller is responding to that memo. So some of the main points that Cook Properties, the owner, were bringing up is they wanted to have a public benefit acknowledged and a value put on that would decrease their connection fee. So TG Miller in their memo dealt with the rationale for why that really wasn't a legitimate charge against their connection fee. Because basically the grant was granted because we are a municipality, so we stood up on their behalf to get that. We're going to make this project possible because the procurement along Hanshaw would be a lot easier with the town's involvement. And they are, in turning the infrastructure over to us, they're reducing their maintenance and liabilities. So for those reasons, crediting them with a public benefit discount would not be legitimate.
Okay.
So that was the pushback on that aspect of their arguments. They were proposing a different EDU count, and TG Miller was agreeing with that proposed numbers of EDUs to use in the accounting. So, bottom line figures are the original connection one-time charge was 147,000. It's now being proposed at 61,000. But other aspects of that out-of-district user agreement would remain the same.
So one of their things they mentioned was concern that the town wanted them to use a bigger pipe than they had originally planned to use. Absolutely agree with that. What's your feeling on their request that they're discounted on the cost due to the pipe size change? Was it really a significant a price?
Well, it's balanced out by the other aspects I was talking about, that what the town is bringing to the project is much larger than that
Okay.
delta, which might have been about $200,000 for the increase from 4-inch to a 6-inch.
Just asking, so I'm clear on that detail. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors to balance.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So Donnie's just asking us to approve this response.
Yeah, yep.
The next steps.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see, I mean, I think this is a good response to them. And they're always going to ask for things.
Yeah, I don't blame them asking, but
the
recommendation is better.
Yeah. So I'll move that we approve the memorandum prepared by our town engineers in response and have them forward that off to Cook.
I'll second that.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then the townwide, Christine, was this the thing you were talking about, the community
Yeah,
risk
I did
reduction?
talk to you about it a little bit briefly. So this is in response to the fire fatalities that continue to happen. The state actually has a really robust program called Community Risk Reduction. It's really similar to the programs that my old fire departments in California had. So I'd like to bring that to the town and do like a townwide community risk reduction where it entails handing out like free smoke alarms to residents, doing home safety visits, standardized messaging across the departments. So I had a really good meeting with State Fire today to learn more about their program. And it's pretty simple to implement. So I emailed all the fire departments just to see if they'd be interested in participating. So just waiting to hear back from them.
Okay. Yeah, because I think these last three fires though, were they all rental properties too? I think two of them were,
Or I'm not sure about the one in Groton.
yeah. So I mean, the ones in Dryden were, but they're not multi-family units, so they don't fall under the fire inspections from what I understand.
So that's where this program could come into play, where it would be not like non-punitive, where code enforcement wouldn't go out to try to like find things wrong. We would go in and at their request and go through the house with them and kind of point out hazards and how they could mitigate them, give them like a checklist of what to work with.
It'd be at the resident's request or the landlord's request.
Probably the residents. But if the landlord wants to
Yeah, that
do it,
would-
I guess they probably could.
Be great if it was both, just
Yeah.
to increase outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should definitely be both then.
And then they could like provide the smoke detectors and they could even like if they need a battery change, they could go out and just replace the smoke detector and just check in with them.
So is this something, this is me learning, is this something that we're gonna need to staff ourselves or be staffed through the fire departments?
Yeah, the fire departments, it would be consist of their personnel. So like initially I would like to have like, I would help coordinate it. I volunteered. And then each department would contribute like a point person. And then they would have people in their departments that would like attend the trainings because they would want to attend how to install the smoke detector properly and how to do this home safety checklist properly. So there'd be like one person coordinating and then each department would have liaisons and then they would have groups and then we would all just work together. And it would be nice too, because say there's a need in Varna, but they don't have any personnel available. People from Dryden and Freeville could go out to Varna and do it. So it would just be townwide.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I was hoping the fire district would really help support too by having a dedicated leadership.
Yeah. And once the district's in place, I could happily turn it over to them because I'll still be a member of the department. So, but just to get it off the.
I think it's a good action to take right now in particular because of the awareness is there. May not be as high as we'd like it to be, but no one can ask why we're doing this.
Right.
Because
Exactly,
we've had
yeah.
7 fatalities in a period of 4 months.
And there's a lot of ways out there to get the smoke detectors donated, like the Red Cross has a program. And I know like some of the big box stores would contribute. I'm sure the fire departments would pitch in too.
That's great.
Okay. So this is something that we have to get just enroll in, or is there an application process?
No, there's nothing. We just have to decide to do it. So I reached out to the fire chiefs, the 3 fire chiefs, to see if they're interested in participating. So, well, no.
Nice.
Later.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah, I just met with State Fire today.
cool. Thank you. Yeah, because the only other way we'd be able to address it is through having I guess the fire inspectors go. Because I know that like down in cities, they do that.
Yeah.
And not just for, it's for like any rental. It's not for
What?
rentals, they do it. Because they're down in, like I know down in Ithaca, for instance, they do it even when
Yeah.
it's one or 2 apartment in a building. They don't leave it to just larger apartment buildings.
And even when they respond to like medicals or something, they could leave the information, say, hey, if you want us to come back out, we'll do it.
Yeah, because I think some of the things aren't always, it's like, certainly smoke detectors, but it's also if like people block
Right.
exits
exit.
off or something like that for whatever reason.
And they would offer training on how to have like 2 exits, because a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then the only other one that's hidden usually is when you have a really old building, the electrical, which I think happened in Freeville a couple of years ago. There
Right.
there was an electrical fire because the building itself was so old.
Yep.
And I think that one was fatal. too.
Yeah, that one was.
Yeah. So. Okay, cool. Well, then we can just run through these advisory board updates and then go to citizens privilege real. Yeah.
Okay, so Affordable and Work Housing Committee, we had a meeting last week. Well, last week we charged the committee to develop, a task force, water and sewer task force, and we have already several, interested, residents to be part of this, and we only have pending. The nominees from the village of Dryden and Freeville. But we have four current members, and they are ready to take on. Since we are looking for a report in January, we would like to move this as it is. And unfortunately, I don't have the names of the people, but I think it's David West will be part of the, of the committee from the county. Martha from the housing committee. I can't remember the other two members. There will be the two pending from the villages. Scott happens, who is here now, gracefully say yes to our request. So so far we have about 4 members and two to name. Okay. So I don't know where we need to vote for it, or how do we go for it
For the
for the task force?
yeah.
We don't need that. We just get the group together. That's all.
Well, we just get.
We
Yeah, we need like the
names.
Yeah, we need the names. Yeah.
And the total number, did we agree that it'd be 7?
I thought.
I think it was
7. Yeah, I think we agreed 7, and then but we just need the names of who would be doing it.
Yeah, the planning board and the villages would participate. It's great.
We're just a little worried about, waiting until next month to do it. So
it's talking though, can't they? Even though they're not official.
Could it be approved with, based on 2 appointees,
Yeah.
1 from each village, yet to be determined, and then that's 7th seat? Cornell, because we had originally reached out
yes,
to
the Cornell.
Leslie Schill, the planner, and she is now proposing a different person within the Cornell community. Might be even better suited to this. So
Heard
to
Yeah.
establish the 7 positions, 4 of which have names attached. That would let us get rolling.
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Can we move them? Universities without membership?
Well, we can, I guess, move on the compass, like the structure of it, but we just need to. I think we would need to approve the names anyhow when we have them.
So you approve the structure
Yeah.
and then.
So then you can look for who you need to. So it would be 1 from each village, the Cornell rep.
So once we have all the names, we need to sort of approve the names.
Yeah, I would think so.
Give you a better idea of what the structure is, but or we could just approve the committee with up to 7 members, voting members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you fill it out as you can with the reps from planning board, villages, or the Cornell community relations folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way we can get started.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand the counties, you got some county planner interested in being part of
Yes.
this, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. So why don't I just could do that right
Yeah.
now? Yes.
Good.
So if you want to move, do you just want to move that?
The resolution that he
Yeah.
presented last week.
Yeah.
We'd have to amend it, right? With the
Yeah, we
the
need
number.
to with the number.
Yeah.
So we're amending last month's
Was it last?
Last week.
resolution?
Last week.
Last week. It was last week.
Just say 7 members?
So members. So far so we have Martha from the Housing Committee, David West from TC, Tompkins County, Scott Hopkins from Community Resident. We have somebody from Cornell, I think is Leslie.
But Jordan Betts would be the town DPW representative.
Okay, Rick is, no, what's in there?
Well, Leslie Schill, we had originally asked about at Cornell. She is looking colleagues as a better fit for the committee.
Okay. And we have no Rick, but what was the name that Rick provided for us?
Is that Jordan?
Jordan Betts is the DPW here for the
Yeah,
town.
DPW from, yeah.
He's the retired Bolton Point.
Yes. And then we have 2 pending nominations from the Freeville and the mayor that they have not yet,
Yeah, because they'll meet, both of those boards will meet before
Okay.
we have our second meeting. But yeah, but that way you can get started.
So we had to revise this language so it wasn't exclusive to the list in case you don't have a member of the planning board. The way it was worded, it says that the committee will be composed of, the town board, the planning board, the AWHC established a sewer and water task force to include representatives from the 2 villages. I guess all that's accurate. It doesn't say that you have to have a representative from the planning board.
Right.
Doesn't say, no.
Yeah.
Right, because we were concerned about
All right.
Because they have so much
our
work.
bandwidth stretch.
Okay, so somewhere in there, we just needed to say that includes 7 members, 7 voting members appointed by the town board. Right?
So back to the original resolution from last week.
Yeah.
that's what I would think.
And we name them separately, so.
Yeah,
So this goes on record, so any future board can look at this, and then we can appoint the membership by separate resolution.
So are you voting on these 1, 2, 3? I have 4 members right now. Or,
We can appoint those separately. I think I
okay,
don't think we passed this resolution, right? Wasn't that the deal?
This we passed.
We passed it. Okay, with that amended language. Okay, I
Right.
thought, okay, I'm with you now. So we want to just appoint those members that were just mentioned.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
So they can get started.
so you want to appoint those 4 members, David
Sure.
West, Martha Robertson, Scott Hopkins, and Jordan Betts?
Yes.
Second.
Hold on, Leo, you made the.
I'll move it and he seconded that.
motion, and Dan sent it. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
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 Have the villages been, are they aware that we should appoint somebody?
Yeah, he's been talking to him.
Yeah, okay. You got a hold of them, okay.
Yeah, because they have members on the committee anyhow, the affordable. Housing one, so.
Freeville hasn't been on a call yet. Not in a while.
They haven't answered it. I sent them an email.
If you need help, let me know.
Okay.
We probably also have to coordinate with Cassie in order to make it a public meeting and
Okay.
all of that. Yeah.
Conservation Board update. So the last meeting was really a working session on reviewing the language for the draft conservation subdivision law that's coming forward in order to bring suggested updates or identify questions as we move forward. That's it.
Climate action. we have a repair cafe coming up next Saturday, the 25th, from 9 to noon at the Dryden Center for Community. And then for the Veterans Committee, it's a very excited group because it's a brand new group and we had all these ideas, but we decided to narrow it down to three things to work on. So those three things are expanding the Operation Greenlight program in November, where we promote shining a green light bulb on your the front of your business or residence. So we're going to really promote that, including adding some pickup locations for the free light bulbs. We're also reaching out to businesses to participate in the county's favor discount program for veterans. And we're looking into doing a Hometown Heroes banner program. So those are the three things we're working on.
Is there just because you said there was a lot of discussion, and I'm seeing right now a number of people I know, a lot of anxiety, especially this week, about people who have parents or children in active duty overseas right now, or are in the reserves, and they've been told they're going to be deployed. Any kind of feedback you've heard in there about ways to help support those children or parents?
I think there's a lot of resources out there that are helping those people. If we hear about it, we'll put them in contact with people who can assist them.
Okay, so
we
if
have,
we
like-
know people, we can reach
Yeah.
out to you, because I'm hearing things and people aren't really sure.
Okay, because I know there's the Cornell Veterans Program, and one of our members is part of that. So
Okay.
she joined them, and then our chairperson Cole, he's connected with pretty much all the resources around. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if everyone realizes that active duty people can be supported by the Veterans Department, so veterans offices. So that's
Okay.
good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Planning Board, the monthly meeting was canceled in June, so nothing to report there. And spring, you covered the early July meeting, the ZAG, right?
I did.
And
I'm just taking a moment to remember how exciting it was. We had a very engaged discussion on definitions.
yes, we always do.
So I can't say there was a lot of exciting stuff to report out on, other than really focused hard work on the minutia detail that makes a zoning great. So yeah, discussions on multiple family housing and what definitions around that. So
Okay, regarding the rail trail, we had just a good discussion about the progress of the pedestrian bridge. We did a change order on the wing wall caps, so they're a little more decorative than we originally anticipated. They'll look a little nicer, a minor cost adjustment, but aesthetically, I think they'll be much nicer to look at. That project's on track to be open for crossing Route 13 in October. And we plan to have a press conference at that time to announce the opening and invite our U.S. senators who are so helpful with this project and other dignitaries. We'll have a bigger grand opening in May when we know the weather's nicer and we've had a little more time to settle in. But we'll call it like a soft opening press conference in October for the Route 13 Rail Trail Bridge. We had another smaller bridge put in over the NYSEG washout area, which we commonly refer to. And we got a lot of assistance from Cornell Engineering Professor Emeritus Charlie Troutman. And the rail trail task force is meeting on Monday, and they'll decide on a name for that bridge. I don't want to steal their thunder, but might have something to do with the animals that made the bridge necessary. Beaver Bridge could be. Not sure. We have a couple vacancies on the committee, and we're going over applications for that. And in the meantime, a number of the members are reaching out to landowners to get those last couple easements. That's a real project of ours. That's all I got.
And then, well, the Ag Advisory Committee didn't meet this month, but there's Evans here, so maybe he can, I don't know if he was gonna speak about something anyhow, but,
They joined.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a joint meeting reviewing that document. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Cool. And then, the ROIC, so I sent the minutes around to everybody just a little bit ago, but, again, I think I mentioned last month, they want to apply for, this play grant to address some of the playground needs. It requires a 20% match and the max that you can get out of it, I think it's 100,000. So that budget time, I think we want to at least reserve, at least pass a resolution to commit to providing a local match in the event we get any of these. You know, I'll have to nail down the timeline at the next meeting, or at least ask Leslie, because I don't know if I'll actually be in town when they're having it, but what the discussion, part of the discussion that came up is we might want to consider having, like, I guess, hiring a grant writer again for other projects too. We had a couple of years ago, had one who worked with us on a couple of different things.
I feel like we're running in the budget.
Yeah, but we haven't like picked one yet to do this, so we would need to do that because it seems like we're gonna have a number of different grant opportunities instead of having to hunt somebody down or the committee's doing the work on their own. If we have somebody who can help out. But now it looks like we're actually gonna have these applications to work on. So, I just want to throw that out there. And then, there is looking to be a small increase, proposed for the rec partnership and county youth services with the town, which is expected. But it would be look at it as a 2% baseline built into the agreements, but sometimes they come asking for some range above that. So since I just mentioned it, because we're coming into budget time, Marty will take care of putting it in her proposed budget, and we'd get that in September. But I mean, these youth services are pretty important. If nothing else, you got to have things for these, for kids to do, and kids who need these kind of services. It really helps in many ways. To keep them doing things, in a positive way. So, but that's pretty much all I got there. And so we can move on to the citizens' privilege. I don't know how many people. We have some people on Zoom too. Chuck Geisler. Yeah. And then Mike.
Sana? Oh. Good evening. Good smoky evening.
Yeah.
Well, next time we'll have barbecue.
Say a few things. I'm a member of Chuck Geisler, a member of the Affordable and Workforce Housing Committee to the town, and a non-voting member to the Zoning Advisory Committee, where I represent our Housing Committee. Earlier this evening, you passed an action item to hold the August 20th public hearing repealing and replacing Article 9 of the Town Code regarding conservation subdivisions, and he noted the months of hard work that have gone into doing that. Certainly to be appreciated. Nonetheless, I suspect that you know that there is a good deal of confusion and perhaps we could call it hesitant consensus about the replacement law among town residents and possibly even some of you on the town board. If you want to have the public hearing on August 20th bear fruit, result in conservation subdivision law that works for our town and doesn't need amendments a few years down the road, I would urge you to hold one or more public education sessions to clarify this replacement law. And I think there's several ways that that could happen. One would be meetings held by probably ZAG or members of ZAG, targeting our town committees, such as the one I represent, and the several others, representing the different constituencies. I think that would be very welcome. And or you might set aside a Saturday morning or afternoon between now and the 20th. There are 4 weeks in which that could happen, in which our consultant, who is referred to with due praise earlier in the evening, or the ZAG chair, or perhaps some third party who is well informed about conservation subdivisions. There are several experts in the county, including in the county planning office, to hold educational sessions to sort of walk through the actual conservation revised version. And I'd like to just point out to you that there's precedent for doing this kind of public education. The stakeholder group meetings that were held as part of Dryden 2045, there were 3 such meetings held to engage with local community leaders, business owners, and experts on special topics important to the future of Dryden that eventually found their way into the comprehensive plan. They were most welcome. These meetings were instrumental in arriving at a revision, and much appreciated. There were also on 7 occasions, the steering committee to the comprehensive plan had meetings and gave public presentations to clubs, organizations, and other groups in the town to listen and to make the plan appropriate and long-lasting. Again, very, very thoughtful and I thought sensitive to reach out to the community in that proactive way, and certainly reflected in a superior final product. The need for public engagement on conservation subdivisions that will apply to more than half of the land in the town seems to me like common sense. Here's what the presentation might look like, whoever does it. It can be very simple. In my view, it should explain first the logic of the 2-tiered subdivision law that we have and where conservation subdivisions fit into our major and minor subdivisions. And it applies to both, as I assume you know, but differently. Second, how we did conservation subdivisions under the previous law, the one that's being replaced, compared to how we would do them now under the new legislation. I think that comparison hasn't been made publicly and plainly. Thirdly, what the likely effect will be on housing, especially affordable housing, of this replacement law. That's, of course, of chief concern to the Housing Committee, but I think to others as well. The presentation should compare the fate of, say, a 20 or 50 or 100 acre parcel subject to conservation subdivision under our current law, and the proposed current law being the one that is still in operative, and then the proposed new law that will come up in the public hearing, and explain what's likely to happen in terms of open space conservation, housing opportunities, and developer buy-in. How does this play out given the town's current zoning districts? I think that there's a lot of very important, significant moving parts here, and that the public hasn't caught up with the thinking that ZAG has put into the resolution and needs to catch up. Our consultant has done has made explanatory presentations covering some or all of these questions to other towns she has consulted with and cut through the fog very nicely. Much rides on this kind of education, and I believe a public hearing will do this very well when and if it occurs. We have the need. I think for clarification, we have qualified people who can do it, several that I've identified. You may know of others, and precedent in our own comprehensive plan. Public education, I think, would go truly a long way here. So I hope you'll consider it. And I know a month isn't a huge window, but it's an opportunity. I think we could fit it in before the public hearing, and that the public hearing will go much better if we do this. Thanks.
Thank you.
So Chuck, you had written to me and maybe others about the need to have this fully explained at the hearing, which I think is a good idea, to have the chairperson of the planning board, Tony Salerno, speak to this, and Nan, if the planning board feels that's a good idea as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be, a point where a lot of more of the public's paying attention. I worry that if we have a second meeting on the side, that it might not be attended very well, and we might just get a handful of people. I'm sure you would attend, and a few others who have been going to some meetings, but I would expect to have a good explanation at the hearing of this 13-page proposed revised section. It's detailed, and I don't know if you mentioned the public fully understands what we're doing. I don't think the public will really want to know all these details. I wish they did, but there are a lot of details in this, and that's why we have to have a committee, of experienced people really work on and revise this, and depend on their expertise and their judgment in many places. I guess I don't know if we can ever have complete understanding in the public about what this is all the different aspects of this is going to touch on.
Well,
so when I hear you say that you want the public to be fully understanding what this does, it's complicated. There are a lot of judgments that have been poured over by probably the most dialed in people in this town on good zoning, people we've appointed because of their expertise and their judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain amount of deference and trust involved in that process.
And there should be.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of weeds that the public.
A lot of what? Weeds?
Weeds.
Okay.
I mean, the zoning, the ZAG has dealt with an awful lot of detail. And I think, speak for myself and possibly some of the other non-voting members, there's been a lot of catch up that we have experienced, and I'm not sure that I still understand all aspects of the revised that we now have a resolution on and is going to go forth. I think I disagree with you, however, that we should wait to the public hearing itself. That could end up being raucous and based on misunderstanding or lack of understanding. If we do education along the lines of simply posing what this would look like with different parcels in the town, that people were comfortable if they own agricultural land or they really favor open space, or if they're very concerned about whether this will encroach on and reduce more housing and therefore affordable housing, or amplify it as I think the revision wants to have more housing and other issues. I think that a very plain demonstration of what this is going to look like once we implement it makes sense, and that we have a much more comfortable acceptance both by yourselves as town board members who won't have to then thereafter amend the law, and the public who is going to have to live with it. As I said, and I'll say again, it's more than half the acreage in the town. It's a lot. And it earlier in the process, it was in the neighborhood of 90% of the acreage in the town was going to be subject to conservation subdivisions. And that got relaxed, which I thought was a wise move. It's now more discretionary than obligatory with regard to rural residential. In any event, I, for one, would very much like to see us have the same kind of outreach that we wisely did with the comprehensive plan. It's a great precedent. And I know these are different. This is a piece of legislation as opposed to a comprehensive plan, but it really merits greater understanding.
Well, again, this is one component of the overall zoning update. And I think to do a line by line discussion of this law will take quite a time commitment from the planning board members.
Not line by line at all. That's why I'm saying some simple diagrams of taking parcels of different size and say, how would it have been done under the existing law versus the new law, which I think people have a right to know and want to know. And if we factor in some of the variables that any developer that approaches a parcel of land and is interested in conservation, subdivision, and bonuses is going to want to know the difference between, if they don't already, between the different types of subdivisions that we have, major and minor, and how, when you start mapping our zoning districts on top of that, how does it play out for developers? I think it's something that could take maybe 2 hours of time, and there are several people available who could clarify.
So,
it sounds like you're just looking to compare like some easy comparison sheet of this parcel under the current law, this with the new proposal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, almost all of us are using Trillium Woods as a point of reference. And I that's fine, but I think we should have a large parcel like Trillium Woods, and a medium size and a small parcel, so people know how this is going to play out.
So I just want to say, because I absolutely hear what you're saying. I also want to share that some of the feedback I've heard is a concern that because it's a public hearing, that there's no opportunity to then go forth and make edits based on the feedback we get from the public.
No,
so I think it's important for us to make sure we clarify for the public that a public hearing is also an opportunity to get more input.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're going to vote on the 20th. It doesn't mean that this is, set in stone and that's part of why it's a public hearing, right?
That's why you have
an opportunity to get more feedback. But there has been feedback that there's this concern that because there's a hearing that it means it's done. And so I just I think that's an opportunity to clarify that's whether we do the additional education session that you're suggesting or not. I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody that that's what the public hearing is for, is to get that feedback. Education sessions in advance provide even more opportunity to help make sure people have that information. So.
You would get feedback and make changes, and then there would be.
Yeah, then. Yeah, if there's things that we're hearing that we need, I mean, like we've had multiple public hearings on things in the past. We had 6 months of them, just solar stuff, if you remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 6 months of them of pain that we went through. And so, yeah, we do that regularly. We're not other towns. So.
I think it's just good to make sure that's on the record, because I know that that's been a concern that people have shared. A concern that it's a one discussion and done, and how to incorporate that education, I think, is good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point to me, is if, something big like this, it's a discussion. I mean, it would be nice, it'd be really nice if we did have that easy comparison. Like if there was something that Nan or whoever could put together just under existing law, this is what happens under the proposal. This is what happens. I think that would be real helpful. I don't know how long that would take to put together, but I'm not going to guesstimate how many hours, because, it's not my thing, but I think it would be a really good idea to help in the public hearing, but I think you'd want that for, if you did a separate information session anyway, you'd want that kind of stuff available.
Yeah.
I think there would be more focus at the hearing
Yeah.
for that conversation than a secondary, Saturday morning meeting where I don't know if all 5 town board members could even come unless we
Yeah.
run it as a public meeting that we're, opening and.
Well, if you decide to do it at the public hearing rather than what I'm proposing, I hope that you'll have the comparison and look at what Nan presented to the town of Hamilton. She did I think 22 slides that were very helpful. It did not include a comparison of the whatever Hamilton had previously and was about to get into, which I think would be a nice addition.
One thing that we could do is perhaps do that at the meeting before the 20th. So maybe on the 13th, have a session on this at the first meeting of our monthly meetings. Would that make sense? And perhaps have Tony and Nan join us for a discussion about this. And that way, all the town members board members would have a little more time to drill down on this. I had the benefit of having gone to a lot of these meetings and heard the discussions, and I don't disagree with you that it would be great if everyone could understand, but there was a lot of material covered. That's all. I was trying to convey that it's hard to compress all the work and all the thought that went into this revision into even 2 hours. But if maybe a couple examples could be presented by Nan and or Tony, I could see that being a productive thing to do at our August 13th meeting. Would that make sense?
Yeah. I really like the idea of doing it at the regular meetings too, because it feels like there's so many different people having all these small conversations, and we're not pulling it all into one room.
Yeah.
And pulling it all into one room also, I think, help clarify where there's maybe questions or things are either misconstrued or we need clarity and things like that too. So
let's reach out to the planning board, see, get some feedback from them. I can't see them having any hangups in doing that. And I think Tony in the past has actually requested that he wants an audience with the town board when they come up with new proposals for us to consider. So I think he would want to do that. And it's just a matter of getting on our consultant schedule. But as you said, she did that for the town of Hamilton.
And perhaps others.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Good idea.
Oh, thanks. Fine. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. You've already talked about the great news about the dam.
And I think that is great news. And I think not only is this resolution that Dan has proposed tonight a nice thing to do, because certainly our state officials and the people at the DEC need to be congratulated for moving this thing forward. But you folks also need to be congratulated, all 5 of you, for moving this along, to listening to the people who came in and started talking about this, 2-3 years ago now?
Yep.
And having the patience and the fortitude to work with our state senator, our assemblywoman, and the folks at DEC to stand up and say, yeah, we want a dam. We don't want a swamp. And I just think this is one more example of where the town of Dryden is a leader, thanks to the folks that serve on this town board and work for the town board. And I think it also shows something about local media that was mentioned. And that is that how important it is to have local media covering meetings, and how we've lost a lot of that. And we need to not only thank the media for coverage, but we need to subscribe.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to say
and,
that. Yes.
and support them in that way. And we've seen a huge change, I think, for the better with the Cortland Standard. We haven't seen much change, and it's never been particularly good with the Ithaca Journal. But the weeklies are out there,
Yes.
and they're doing stuff for us. But it's important, because that is the third leg of local government, because you have the voters, you have the representatives, and you have the media letting the voters and everybody know what's going on, and holding elected officials' feet to the fire. So that's all I wanted to say tonight, and say thank you. And if there's one thing I would add to your resolution, Dan, that lake provides a lot of flood control.
Mm.
And we studied that in the 80s and the 90s when we were working on the dam for Virgil Creek. There was also the possibility of a dam going up there for flood control. But if you didn't have that dam there, and we got a flash flood like we had in 1981 or 1935, that water would just flow through there and gush down Lake Creek and inundate the village and go beyond. Of course, it would join Virgil Creek in the village, and we'd have even more issues.
Mhm.
So that's what I wanted to say tonight. I wanted to say thank you to everybody. And also, Christina, I liked your comments about the activities that could be done to let folks know about the issues of fire protection, fire prevention. Because I think that there's media activity out there kind of wondering how our community's feeling about these horrible, horrific deaths that we've had. And I think that's so important. I'm glad you're taking up a mantle on that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Mike, you're also part of that whole advocacy for the dam too with the state, right up until the end. So thank you. Is there anyone else? Yeah, Ron?
Well, no, I recognize that we're running late here, but we probably won't be able to tell the difference between the day and.
I know.
But I think you were reading what I was going to say. Oh, my shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Again, I'm Ron Brown. I live on Lake Road here in Dryden. I hadn't planned to speak tonight, but I thought about it, and I did want to say thank you to you. At last week's meeting, several of us spoke because we were deeply concerned about Dryden Lake. That's Scott and Mike and Sal. Since then, we've gotten the encouraging news that the DEC expects to select a contractor by the end of this year to replace the dam. If that comes to pass, it will represent an important step forward for over 15 years of vigilance. And I'd like to thank specifically Deputy Supervisor Daniel Lamb for continuing to champion the issue, Supervisor Leifer, and the town board as a whole for their persistence. Dan Wakeman for the public advocacy, our state representatives, and everyone who's worked behind the scenes to keep the project moving. I'd also like to thank the Cortland Standard, specifically Dan Considine, for helping inform the entire community. But tonight isn't just about declaring victory. It's about encouraging each of us in this room and in the community to keep working together until construction actually begins and Dryden Lake is restored to the state that it was meant to be since 1806. It's about preserving something that is truly irreplaceable. We look forward to working with the DEC, the town, and other elected officials in any way we can to help this project be a success. And I look forward to celebrating with all of you when the first equipment begins the process.
Yeah.
That said, we still have a lake that needs our immediate help. I understand DEC said they will, quote, make a determination within the next month regarding the efficacy of temporary intervention at the dam. Unfortunately, the ecosystem of the lake can't wait. It doesn't operate on an arbitrary timetable. I measured the lake again this afternoon. It's now 23.65 inches below crest, and we as a town need to act as soon as possible. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Scott.
Jason, I don't know if you dare to use a USB from me.
Let me see if I got a connection that'll work.
Just, I think it says lake leak. Damn.
No end.
Michael, I noticed that on my deed from 30 years ago, it says that our border is set as if the lake was 1 foot higher. And I was told when we did that was because there was an idea of raising the level of the lake. I hope that gets brought up again, and when they build a dam, it is 1 foot higher. 2 years ago, DEC came around and put flags all around the lake. I think I mentioned that last week, to bring it back on all of the properties as if the water was 1 foot higher. And that would be a great deal of help to keep the milfoil from growing and the cattails and the mud from occurring. So the dam,
Microsoft.
the dam is leaking. And I just put a couple of slides together with some pictures we went down and took during the week. Must be there somewhere. Not there.
No, it's just that the trackpad on these Windows boxes are equally bad as Windows.
There it is.
Let me make sure it's being shared.
Yeah, sure.
And go to presentation mode there.
Needs to show on Zoom.
Sharing not turned on.
So I worked for Dr. Paul, and he always said, it's okay to come to me with a problem as long as you have a suggested solution. Don't just come in and complain about things. So I complain about the dam leaking, that it's 23 inches down and the whole lake is shrunk down in the middle. There's a simple solution to make it better for the rest of this year, because I also taught project management, and I know they're saying they'll do it next year. But projects are very difficult. I'm just trying to repair my pool shed, and there's so much rot in it that is taking me a week. I thought it was going to be a day. So I know these things are going to take longer. So what I show here in this picture, you know where the
Yeah, let me.
there.
Meeting's over.
We need to just buy Apple machines. Sorry. No, I know where the Zoom
Yes,
is.
it does.
I can't
Right.
Select the things.
I'm gonna bin this thing next, so. It's a little better.
That works.
It's beautiful.
I'll see if I can switch back to, Zoom later somehow.
So I just wanted to show, that's, you're looking at the far side is the north side of the lake. There's two vertical walls on each end of the dam. And then the weir is what controls the level of the lake. The water can never go higher than the weir. And it should be that high, but it's not. And then it spills onto the spillway. You can go to the next slide. I'm just pointing out that currently there's very large leaks, and you can't see it very well on the circle on the side there, but there's cracks between the boards that are 2 inches wide, and the water's just flowing into them. Today it is, even as low as the water is. You can go to the next slide, Jason. And then the sidewalls, I was surprised how much water is flowing in them. In between those cracks on those vertical boards, you can hear water cascading. It sounds like waterfalls inside of that wall on both ends of the dam. Go to the next slide. It's just the other side of the dam. You can see both sides are leaking very heavily. But what I propose in the next slide is just putting a rubber membrane or plastic on the area that's in yellow. And in fact, if you look at the back side, even today, back side of these walls, somebody put a fabric on those and put a board across the top and the bottom. But the board's there and all the fabric's gone. I think it was a decade or more ago. But that slope goes down below the water level. It'd be easy enough to rake the rocks back and just put a film on the wall and on the next slide in the lower section. So it'd be a pretty straightforward thing to do if we can propose that to the DEC. I know they said, well, we want to look at the water coming in. Nothing's changed. I'm around that lake every day, riding bike or walking or canoeing or sailing. So it's been there 53 years. How much faster is it going to rot in 1.5 years if they replace the next year?
I should put something solid so when it rots, you still have something there.
Yeah, but there's nothing behind it to support it. So, I mean, all winter long, when the water level's so high and the water's flowing, those haven't collapsed or gone anywhere. When there's a lot of water coming through from the snow melt in the spring, like the last gauge initials.
Just fill it with.
So if you look at the last slide, you can just see what the dam is supposed to look like all the time.
That's so pretty.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring up that that's a solution, and I'd hate to see the DEC spend a lot of time looking at all of the creeks and springs that are feeding into it and thinking that those have changed over time. Even though it's a good concept, it's simple to see. And, when you teach the Japanese methods of production or quality control or problem solving, they say go to Gemba, the place where it happened. So if you just go there and just listen to it, you can hear a huge amount of water, but you don't see any of it flowing because it's all inside the dam coming out the bottom.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of water flowing into the creek. I mean, it comes down behind Agway and meets with Virgil Creek. That's a lot of water. You just don't see any water going over the dam because it's going under and around it.
Like a beaver dam.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
We just need more beavers.
Yeah, liners that are.
Maybe get some of the rubber from the reflecting pool.
That's who we make sure we don't hire.
Purpose.
Just.
That's all that I had there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
5 million, or 43 million gallons or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the last time.
Oh,
That is
it's got-
actually missing out of life now because of this.
Yeah.
So we'll certainly bring this up with DEC. We've been in touch. Jason's been in touch with Scott Pringle, the local coordinator. And when we get a chance to talk about the timeline, doing an interim fix is a good idea.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. And I also had the USGS report from 2002, when they did all the soundings of the gather, and all the water supply.
Oh.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
You have it everywhere.
All right. Any report you want to give us, you'll just dump it,
The issue that concerns me the most. What happened to that small, small ecosystem that's not that way, that's at the level of that ecosystem. That's under strain because of the condition of lake right now, and something that is an easy solution, perhaps temporary, obviously until the dam can be built. It's supposedly a year or so.
Yeah.
So,
Good ideas.
Cool, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wanna have anything they wanna talk to us about? Or on Zoom or going once? Or twice? All right, thanks, folks. Gonna adjourn the meeting.